Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode from Yoga Beyond the Asana, the wonderful podcast. I'm so happy that you're here. I am very excited sitting here and welcoming two special guests I was a long time looking forward to. Two beautiful souls who most of you probably already know. Deva Premal and Miten. For the ones who don't know them yet, here comes a little bit about their background and some introductory words. Deva and Miten met in the early 19th in India in an ashram of the spiritual teacher Osho. After leaving a very successful but not fulfilling career as a musician in England, Miten found his way back to himself through the humble and simple life in the ashram. Living there for several years, Miten found his service to the Osho community as a musician. Deva from Germany left to India with only 17 years, and she was studying reflexology, shiatsu, and craniosacral therapy. She comes from a very musical background, influenced and guided by Eastern and Zen philosophy. Her mom brought Osho's teachings into the house. And that is when Deva felt the call to live in the ashram. Deva and Miten became partners, and she contributed first as a backup and support during the musical gatherings until she had a re-encounter with the Gayatri mantra, which was already sung to her by her dad as a child. Deva found her voice again and immersed into the world of mantras with Miten on her side. Both started touring worldwide with the Osho community, contributing through music until they recorded their first album, The Essence, in 1998. This record became an unexpected success that at that time was the beginning of the continuous story of Deva Premal and Miten. Since then, many more recordings have been made. 2020, Deva was even nominated for a Grammy. The field of spiritual music cannot be imagined without Deva Premal and Miten, and until today, they touched millions of hearts around the world through their healing music by giving concerts or satsangs worldwide, playing at gatherings and festivals, and releasing records. I welcome you again from the bottom of my heart, and I'm very honored to have you here today, Deva Premal and Miten. Hello.
Hi, Wanda.
Thank you, Wanda. That was so sweet.
So, first question, where are you right now, and what moves you right now?
I mean, we always strive to be in the here and now as much as possible. So that's where I am, here and now. And of course, there's always the practical, there's the physical space. Right now we are in Germany and, in a kind of a period between our life in Costa Rica and going on tour in September. So in September, we'll start our touring, which we've been doing for 33 years, pretty much. So it's very natural. It's second nature. We love that flow of touring. But right now, this is like today, we're gonna go to see a friend for a few days, which we usually don't really have time for. So it's a really nice kind of in-between space of exploring Europe in a different way, not just 2 days in one place at each time, with the concerts. And what moves you? What
moves me? I think, the only real reason to be alive for me now is to play and sing with Deva and to be in connection with people like you, Wanda, where we have a connection with a global family that has grown up over these years, even dates back to the 60s, people my age in the family, the grandfathers and the grandmothers are part of the family, of course. And so that's the good reason to be alive, I just love to be here and connect through music and mantra. It's just amazing. People give you money for it. That's unbelievable. But because for us, it's our spiritual practice. There's no vacation, like David was saying. It's not like, this is as close as it gets to a vacation, going visiting some friends on the beach for 4 days in Spain. And then, even then, the guitar will be there with us, and we'll be chanting and singing with friends.
Yeah, thank you. I'm also very happy to be here with you right now and connect. And we have indeed some things in common, the love for mantra for sure. And also my parents have been in the ashram of Osho, being devotees of Osho. So he was also a teacher that was brought to me in my early life. And I would love to go a little bit back with you to the point where you two met in the ashram in India. I think it was 1990. Maybe you can explain a little bit for the people who didn't live in that time or have not experienced that. What brought you there? Maybe you can say a little bit about that meeting and what brought you there. Deva, I said a little bit in the introductory, but maybe you can also give us some imagery. What brought you there? How was that time when you met?
Well, what brought me there was kind of desperation. I'd lived a life of kind of sex, drugs, and rock and roll for too long. And I was kind of lost in London with a family and managers and people I was responsible for. And I just wanted to get off the train, I just didn't know where it was. But of course, there was a lot of exploration back then in the 60s and early 70s. And so many of my peers were going to India, and I went, and I just wanted to find out how to meditate. And I found Osho. It was called Rajneesh then, but that for me was my transformation from one life to another. And when I came to Osho's community, that's where I am now in a way, and nothing changed. It's just grown, and it's been integrated, and we're all integrated in our spiritual journeys, So that's how I came to the ashram, and I came as a virgin, really. I didn't want to tell anyone I'd been a musician for the last 10 years. I basically stopped playing, and saw the ashram as my Zen retreat, and just worked in the kitchen for a year or so without telling anyone about music. So I just received the blessings, and I learned how to meditate. I learned how to share myself in a community. And when I was ready, that was when I met Deva. And I had to be prepared for somebody as pure as Deva. She was 20 when we met. And she was just an incredible, steady and influence. She's just been the most amazing companion for these last 33 years. So, I'm still there. Body's a little older, but basically it's the same connection through the loving gaze of the eyes and the singing together. That just, the only other thing you need is a little food, and then you cannot complain about life anymore. Deva.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I came to Osho when I was 10 or 11, and then to be that Osho went back to India to live there again, which was unexpected, was such a gift that I would be able to be in India
after Oregon.
After he left for America. So when I was 17, I went for the first time to the ashram and to India, which in itself is already a kind of a baptism, because India is just being in that country, in that Mother India is already transforming. Mm-hmm. And then to be able to live there for years was such a gift that my mother made possible. And to study and to work in this environment of just experiencing and exploring. There was no money that was involved. You weren't paid for your work. You were just contributing to the community, and you were doing what you felt to do. You were actually really listening to your inner calling, and you could live that. Mm. So in the beginning, I was in the garden. I just loved being in the garden. And then I was doing the bodywork trainings, and I was able to give sessions there, which was what an honor and gift to share that. And then deep down inside, I always loved music. I grew up with music because my mother was a musician. And I loved singing, and I loved the music of the ashram, which was often played by Miten, because he was the coordinator of the music. So for every meditation, music was used. So music was very, very specific. It was used to bring more silence or to bring celebration, to bring dance and those two wings. And Miten really had an incredible gift for both, to nourish both of those aspects. And so in the evenings, we would gather for an hour or 2 hours, 2,000-3,000 people, pin drop silence. And Miten, who had created the music with his band in the afternoon, would play this music for us to be able to go deeper into the silence or to dance. And I just loved singing along and dancing, and it was like, and so when Miten and I got together, I was like, oh, maybe I can sing, maybe I can sing with him also, actually, create the music, which was kind of a very daring thought because I'd never done something like this. But over the months of being together, we realized that there was some beautiful harmony that happens when we put our voices together, that they blend well. And so it was just a flow, to start singing, which meant I was supporting Miten's voice, Miten's songs that he'd written. And that's what we did for until now. That's what we're doing now. It's just that the mantras have then now also come into our lives, which happened a few years later. But because you asked about the ashram, that was the time in the ashram being there. And just the sense of community, that you live together with people who are all on the same page, who are ready to look at themselves and are real with each other, very, very present with each other, mostly loving with each other, not everybody, because it's human. So of course, stuff happens, and then you look at yourself as best you can, so it was a really precious time, really precious.
Yeah, it sounds like a very, very special time. Do you guys, because when I heard you also talking Miten, saying that you needed to prepare to meet such a pure soul as Deva, do you remember this moment when you met? Was it like people say, love at first sight, and you just know when you know? And was it for you like that when you met her?
Yeah. In a way, yeah. But my memory is not so clear as Deva's because I'm so old. So so my one memory of where it all began was when Deva just walked up to me in the ashram. I was just in the flow of my day, doing whatever I was doing. Suddenly, Deva is standing there, and she's asking me if I would be her model for a shiatsu class. She needed somebody to work on, and all the participants had been told to go into the ashram to ask somebody to be their model so they could practice a session. So Deva came to me, and that's when it happened. I had a hug with her before the session, and just holding her and being held by her was I just haven't never forgotten it.
Mm.
And I can't describe it, but the way it was feeling to me when I was in that embrace with her, and it wasn't in any way romantic or or sexual or anything like that. It was this feeling of being held by a kindred spirit, and also I was holding a kindred spirit, and the hug was prolonged. It was for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 breaths, so it was quite a long time of not just one breath and then that's it. It was like being held, and yeah, it felt like she was. My conscious mind said, "Oh, she's an old soul. She's so settled somehow in herself that it was a quality that I was just recognizing in myself." So I was aware of it. I was aware of where she lives in herself, and it was I knew that space for myself. And when we wanted to make music, that's where it came from. And then with the master taking us even deeper, with the understanding that how music is conducive to silence and meditation and celebration, like Dave was saying. So that's my memory of it. I know David's got about 2 or 3 others.
Yeah, no, it's exactly like that. I mean, it was just really that hug, and we hugged so much in the ashram. It was that is just our very natural way of being in the moment together, present and meeting each other. So hugging was natural, but this hug was really so special that we both knew something magic could unfold.
I was tearing up here a little bit when you were talking. Really feeling that. Can you speak a little bit about the role that Osho plays in your life as a guide, as a spiritual teacher, as an influence?
For me, it's Osho is such a vast presence that includes so many colors and so many aspects of connecting with the divine spirit. And that's what I love about Osho, that it's not very specific. Osho wasn't very specific. He didn't say, you just do this and this and you'll get there, you get enlightened. But he was always and is always encouraging us to follow our own inner guidance, to follow our own inner light. And that light, we might find it in Sufi whirling or in Sufi dances, or we might find it in Zen meditation, or we might find it in
tantric texts.
Yeah. So that's what's also expressed in the music and the mantras that we sing. We're not Hindus. We haven't kind of like, we haven't gone deep into the religion of Hinduism, but we have connected on a deep level to the essence of the mantras that are in Sanskrit. And we have connected on a deep level to the songs or chants we sing from Africa or from Yoruba tribe, that we can tune into the essence of these different flavors and cultures and experience the oneness of them. And that's really what he gave me, the appreciation of so many different ways to feel the divine and to connect with the divine and to live that in a very joyful way. That's also the celebration and the joy, that meditation can come out of a joyful feeling of singing and chanting. And then the meditation happens naturally and irresistibly, seductively. So that's Osho's light is still very much guiding my path.
I mean, it's, and just talking about it now, it's quite incredible that you could find somebody who could talk with such eloquence in so many different cultures and traditions and religions, and you can actually open your mind to Christianity just by talking about it. And he could help us understand Jesus just by discourse after discourse, maybe for a week or even a month, just focused on the teachings of Jesus, or a month on the teachings of the Buddha, or a month on the teachings of Lao Tzu, all these different paths. So it wasn't like the guru was like, he was so vast that he opened the door to, for instance, Tantra, and then he became irrelevant. You were on your own pathway into a world that he'd opened up the door to. And it was the same all through the ashram. You know, people studying Buddhism, Zen, and music. You know, there were so many different departments in the ashram. It wasn't just focused on the guru. The guru opened these doors, and then his disciples were actually making use of the information and the experience that he was offering to us. So it was a very incredible, mind-expanding experience to be there, not just for the community and for your own individual growth, but just to be sitting there and be surprised about what this guy is going to talk about for the next 2 hours that's going to blow your mind and open up your heart. And you have no, it just can happen over and over again. And it was so much based on silence. We didn't want to be in that hall if we had a cough. We didn't want to. We stayed away, like that was the understanding. Stay away if you have a cough. So that the place you could be in your own solitude among your family, and that's an incredible gift that he gave us. We could just sit there, people all over the world and so many different cultures in their own individual journey into themselves, with the grace of the guru, who was a rascal and who was trying to seduce us into chaos so that we would experience God. Because he would say, if I get you to be in a state of chaos, that's where you'll experience God. You won't experience him in your texts and your spiritual writings and things like that. Scriptures, you're going to experience them when you don't know who you are and you don't know where you are. That's the moment when God visits, and that's when you say hello to yourself, So in that environment, to meet somebody and to have this experience of loving and it moved into a romantic love affair that we've been living for the last 33 years, and it was born in with that understanding that the priority in this friendship is each other's spiritual journey. That's the priority, not the marriage, not the relationship, something deeper, our own spiritual journey. That's what we support with each other by singing with each other. When you sing with somebody, you become naked, and you can join each other with eye contact and sing your heart. You can't hide there. That's the truth of who you are. So we've lived that through Osho's grace, and just whatever bad things might have happened around that thing now and again. I have to say that it's just absolutely transformed my life. And I think I've done some good in the world since meeting him. I think one of the things I feel with me and Deva is that when we sing and when we're in a gathering together, when we're all together, I feel like, what I can do? I can help you lift your burden. So we just lift our burdens for a while. We forget the burdens. We all sing. And I feel like that's what I've been able to give the world. It's just a possibility to lift your burden for a few hours and sing and chant. So that's our gift.
I'm tearing up again. Thank you. That's so beautiful. Miten, you just talked about that you two made each other's spiritual progress or spiritual journey your priority, to support each other on your spiritual path. And could you share even some other wisdom you two gained after not only working together, but also being a couple for more than 30 years? And when I see you and listen to the both of you, I feel like, as you said in the beginning, like you just met like last week. You feel so much freshly in love, like holding hands. I watched some interviews, prior to this conversation. I was like, wow, they're always holding hands. This is so sweet. And they look like they're freshly in love. So, this is something that's very inspiring, I feel, for me and for many others, I think. So, what makes it possible that these, also this two relationships of work, I think you don't see it as work, but in a way it is, yeah. And the love relationship, like, can you share a little bit how do you keep it fresh? Or is it really this one wisdom of making this spiritual journey to support each other the priority, or is it more? What would you say?
I think the question is to you.
To both of you, of course.
Okay. It's a mystery, I think. It's what I really love. We've never worked on this, we've never done anything consciously to make this good or happy. Or in the beginning, we thought, let's be intelligent. Let's not spend too much time with each other, so the juice doesn't run out too quickly. So let's have 2 rooms. And we just never used one of the rooms. It was just a waste of space, so we realized let's just enjoy and also enjoy with the knowledge and knowing that this will or can finish any moment. And I think that does maybe keep it very precious, because not only because of the age difference, but just because when I looked around, I saw many couples splitting up, always from my parents, started by my parents. So I never expected any relationship to be forever or even very long. So we're just enjoying the moment. And I always feel like the love is like this beautiful guest that has come to live with us. And this guest, like we wake up in the morning and the guest is still around, that love is still there. And you're grateful because you can't hold on to the guest. You can't kind of, chain the guest to you, but you have to just be grateful that it is there, and you can nourish the guest so that maybe, the nourishment is for us is to, basically is just to love each other. So it's very simple, actually. Because it's just so nourishing to love somebody this much, and so you just want to do more of that. And with the work, when you said work, it's just been very, very easy and also sometimes challenging, because music is a great challenger. Like Miten said, when you sing, you're very naked. So in the music, which is really, Miten has been my guru and musical mentor and teacher. And that's where I can, feel my stuff come up, or my challenges come up. But somehow we manage to move through it very quickly, and it never sticks very long, or we never dwell in it. So we just, it's like a few moments or whatever, just looking and being open and honest. But the underlying feeling is always the love, the underlying trust that we love each other and we want the best for each other, and the respect, the mutual respect that we really, somehow we haven't had any power struggles or anything, although, we both lead in a way, now together. But I always think we're just lucky. I don't think I could say to anybody, oh, you just do that and it'll be much easier or something. We don't have like a magic formula. Only a magic formula, not a formula we can.
Well, there is a basic formula is, as you go through life, what you value most is a friend. If you have a friend in life, a true friend, that's more than you could possibly wish for, or hope for. So it's a very simple thing. Make that your priority. That's what I want. If you want to be with another guy, if that makes you happy, I'm happy for you because you're happy. And I just want you to be happy. I want you to be able to explore your life while you're here. I don't want to in any way say you cannot do something just because we know each other. It's just a ridiculous situation as far as growth goes for me. So that's a formula. Just make sure you're friends. And put that as the priority. See if you can, because what happens is suddenly you're not jealous anymore. You're not ruled by jealousy. You're ruled by joyful feeling. It's like the opposite. And when I discovered that, I was, wow, I'm not jealous. This is amazing. I'm actually not jealous. And it hasn't spoilt my love in any way. In fact, it's made it even richer because I know she's experiencing something new. And that means I'm also in a new position, in a new situation. How am I, And,
that's a long time ago.
Yeah, it's not yesterday or anything, But that is alive in us, and that's how Osho recommended we live as friends. Make that the highest, and everything else will follow. So in some ways, I've just had a really good mate, a really good friend, mate, as we say in England, and yeah, that's all I ask for.
Beautiful.
The rest is just a gift. Is more of a gift. It's the cappuccino. The rest is the cappuccino.
So I guess also, of course, mantra is something that connects you to deeply throughout your life. Let's talk more about the power of mantra. Maybe can you explain the definition really of mantra? Because I think some people have an idea, but also why are the Sanskrit mantras especially are so powerful, also on a more scientific level. I know, Deva, you study Sanskrit, so maybe you can talk a little about the magic, what mantra unfolds in us, or what's happening.
I'll talk about it first. The beautiful thing about Sanskrit, first of all, is that we all don't speak it. We all don't know this language. I mean, even in India, hardly anybody speaks Sanskrit, but it's a language that's for us just basically sounds, because we don't know the meaning. So we haven't attached any concepts or ideas or stories to the word love, or like prem. Prem is love in Sanskrit. We have no stories and concepts around the sound prem. So when we say the word prem, when we chant the word prem or the sound, we tune into the basic frequency of this quality.
We're tuned into it. We don't do anything. It resonates in us.
Yeah, it resonates within us. And it's beyond the mind. We don't even have to know that it's love. Just the sound prem carries the frequency of love in it. Now we still have to translate it, because it does also add something when we can tune ourselves consciously into that quality. But even if we didn't know, it would still do the work. And I always like to compare it with medicine, where we don't know what's in a pill and how was it made and how was it invented and who took it first. And, basically we take the pill and it makes us feel better. And if it doesn't, let's not keep taking it, Mm-hmm. But if we realize, wow, when I take this pill, I feel so much better. Let's call it supplement. Let's take the supplement. We don't want to go into pills. Then if I'm intelligent enough, I'll take it. I'll take it regularly. And so that's with a mantra and meditation. If I realize, wow, when I chant this, when I sing this, it makes me feel so good. I feel it makes me feel vibrant inside. I feel my energy flowing. I feel the silence that follows, that is so potent and so real and so alive. Wow, I can feel like this whenever I want. It's all inside of me. I don't need anything else. I have the voice. Then you can say, I just can't remember all those mantras. There's so many words and I don't understand. Om Shanti, that's 2 words. If you can remember, Om Shanti, 2 sounds. Shanti means peace. You don't need more than this. Okay, Shanti is too much. Then just Om. Om is enough, and just on every out breath, Om. You do it 3 minutes, you'll feel completely different than 3 minutes before. And literally, I mean 3 minutes or 3 times Om. It's so immediate, and it's just something we have to remind each other to do, and to also make it. So that's what we do with the music. We make it heart opening, So like with the Vedic chanting, maybe for us it sometimes sounds a little maybe masculine or harsh or yeah. But with the mantras, where we put the melody, then the heart opens, because the melody is so beautiful, and you just open yourself to that sound even more. And then the silence comes, and it's bliss. I mean, it's follow your bliss. All those kind of cliches now, they all are true, and it's also, it feels almost like a shortcut to meditation for me with the mantras. Like then the silence happens. Anything to add?
Well, we could chant something. Chandamita.
This is lots of words.
We just chant this mantra for you. Wanda, we can close our eyes together when we chant.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, and take a deep breath. Shanno Mitra, Shanno Shanno Bhavitvayama, Shanno Indro Brahaspati, Shanno Vishnu Rukrama, Namo Brahmane, Namaste Vayu, Tvamiva Pratyaksham Brahmasi, Tvamiva Pratyaksham Brahma Vadishyami. Ritam Vadishyami, Satyam Vadishyami, Tamam Avatu, Tatvaktam Avatu, Avatu Mam, Avatu Vaktam. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And we stay with our eyes closed and just join us with the Om Shanti. We invite you all to join us wherever you're listening or watching this podcast with Wanda. Om Shanti is a prayer for universal peace. And we sing it together. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Deva. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
And then a little smile. And a deep breath.
Thank you for this little spontaneous chant. I think, unfortunately, the recording of the Zoom is not, capturing all the 5 beautiful sounds, but I received the frequency. That's definitely for sure. Yeah, thank you. I felt immediately a clearing. Yeah. So what is something that you can observe, like being on tour for so many years? What is happening? You said it before, Miten, that people are elevated or you lift something from them. What can you observe in the people? What's happening like through the concerts? What's your experience like when you in this, in this container with people? What did you see happening throughout the years? Or what is the power of mantra? What is happening to people? What can you observe?
It's really the same experience as the one we're feeling right now. The 3 of us talking to each other across the internet, but the feeling of connection is happening between us. And it's just magnified a few thousand times by the people that are there, but it's the same feeling. And when we sing, it's the same feeling. So it's just a magnified version of this, really. And because people are focused on the stage looking at us, so we musicians on the stage feel like we are, in a way, the male principle of a tantric exercise. We're the male. We are on the stage, and we're putting this energy out, and the audience is the feminine. It's the receiving, and together we participate in this tantric experiment every time we play. It's not obvious, but it is to me. And so, during that evening, we go on a whole journey, just as you do in any meditation. And at some points, it becomes very deep and silent. But it's a deep orgasm, and other times it's a huge celebratory orgasm. You just have to let the music and the chanting have its own. But this the ultimate expression of male and female energy is this orgasmic experience. So that's how it is when we play.
It's in the life, and then also, because I think maybe a question was also, what do people experience having mantras in their lives in general? And that's that feeling, like Miten said, the feeling of connection. That's what is the key. Because when we feel connected, we are already in a good place. Even if we are sad, if we feel connected, we are somehow okay. I think it's the disconnection is the most painful the most painful feeling for us humans, and the mantras help us feel that connection and also praise that connection. It's like it's both. It's a prayer to receive, and it's a prayer to say thank you, for being in this life and being surrounded by and have the divine spirit within. But this connection is in so many ways, and in some ways it's the connection to other people singing when we come together. There's that connection. There's that connection to our recordings. People use our recordings a lot. What we hear, they play them every day or they play them all day long. And there's this sense of singing together with us in a recorded way. And then obviously people sing and chant themselves, which is so healing and powerful.
Or saying that
and
childbirth and all that should mention.
Using
that's very intense times in people's lives where they're with us.
So,
I just it's just to underline that point. That Deva's saying that the recorded music has been incredible because people have been able to use it for things like childbirth, giving birth to their kids, or saying goodbye to their loved ones and their friends at the end of a life. That our music has been used in many different intense situations in people's lives, and they bring us that whole thing. It's not just it's a good party record or something. It's way more than that. And I think that's why we feel so close to our friends who come to sing with us. I never see them. Some people say, when's your next show? And I mean, we don't do shows. It's just not a performance. There's no show involved. It's just a gathering. It's actually a cosmic circle that is completed when we come on the stage, and that completes the circle. And then we're all in this together. And so it's got nothing to do with rehearsing something and showing people how complicated or how much good musicians we are. It's much more about being part of a circle where we can create something beautiful together. And the musicians understand why they're there. And the people who come now understand why they're there. We all know why we're here. So it becomes church, becomes like a spiritual, and it's fun. It's not just serious like a Christian thing, as I remember the Catholic services when I was a young woman. It's not that. It's reverence, pure sort of feeling of exaltation and ecstasy. So, yeah.
Deva, you are participating or created this healing study with Dr. Infrid Hobart. I was reading about on your website. And he is studying about the healing abilities of mantras in people's everyday lives. Can you share maybe a little bit about that and what they've been already finding out? What is mantra, doing to people's lives or improving their lives, in which ways?
So that was a beautiful study that he brought into being to encourage people to commit, so that they commit for 60 days to chant every day, either the mantra Om or the mantra Om Shri Dhanvantri Namaha for healing, or Gayatri mantra, and just really say, I do it every day for the length of the recording, which is about 10 minutes or so, which is really not actually a big time commitment, but just to do it every day is still very, very powerful. And that's what the reports have been showing, that they have had more, quality of life, less stress, less symptoms. I don't know the exact percentages of all those things. They can be found, but there was definitely a shift, that is noticeable. And I think he's still collecting, and it's still going on. But it's about the commitment, it's about doing it every day and making that a part of your daily life and a tool that you always have there when you need it. Because in a moment of stress, if you just took literally 3 breaths with an Om on the out breath, you would already see it from a different perspective. You would already have a little distance or detachment from the situation. So it's to create these good habits, that it becomes second nature. Oh yeah, I chant, I have that tool and I do it, and I do it when I can call upon it when I need it. That's very, very important and precious.
Yeah, it's the commitment is it's such an integral part of a spiritual journey. It's nothing new. We made some CDs about 10 years ago now with just mantras, no musical content really, just basically Deva chanting the mantra 108 cycles and then with an explanation of what that mantra is. So what you get in your CD with like 10 mantras just chanted 108 cycles with Deva. And the commitment and the invitation is, can you commit yourself? Can you say to yourself, well, this is 10 minutes long, this mantra, and it's resonating with me. I can put it on my CD player every night for 21 nights. I'm going to commit. And in those 21 nights, I'm going to chant a mantra before going to sleep with Deva. And you chant your mantra. And that's something we've been encouraging people to do for years also, just once you make, like David said, once you make a commitment, the mantra starts to go deep and then you become friends. And if you do it for 21 days, you're definitely moving into a spiritual practice. So yeah, it's very, very important that sense of commitment, I think. I think we've all gone through that on our spiritual journeys at some point when we really commit. We say, yes, this is what I'm going to do with my life and my time. It's important, for spiritual growth to commit. And the mantras are great because you commit, you chant, and you're giving yourself some good soul food at the same time. And if you do it every evening before sleep, you wake up with it. It's a beautiful practice to chant mantra before you go to sleep. You find your mantra either with these CDs. One was called Mantras for Precarious Times, which was pretty much up to date the way the world is right now. And another a CD was called Tibetan Mantras for Turbulent Times. Again, this time chanted with 5 Tibetan monks from Dharamsala, and that we met in Australia, and Deva chanted with them 108 cycles, 7 or 8 Tibetan mantras, Buddhist mantras, I think. And the invitation to use it as a tool,
And I think you can still sign up in this committed self-study journey on the website, right?
Yes.
So if you feel called right now listening to the podcast to join this self-experiment, committing to mantra. So there's a whole explanation on the website. I will put it in the show notes under this video and under this podcast, so then people can join actually the study. Chanting and meditation with mantra, or mantra is the direct way to meditation, is a profound spiritual practice. Do you have next to this any other rituals, practices you do throughout your day? Do you practice some yoga asana or some active meditation? Is there anything else you do for your body, for your soul, apart from that big spiritual practice that is your life already? But is there anything that is important to you?
I can answer for Deva, and
You're gonna say, whisper to me first.
Deva, since we've stopped traveling so much, Deva has become fantastic.
No, I don't know.
You're alchemy. No, but it's important. It's food. It's food. She makes the most fantastic food. And every day.
That's love speaking.
Well, love speaking, that's good. But yeah, that's our spiritual practice. Eating Deva's food.
That's one of them. But shaking, like that's really something I always feel like I want to encourage people to know about, is to shake the body. And that's another thing, like the Om, to up to 15 minutes a day. Okay, you could do an hour a day, but even 3 minutes of shaking will really totally reset your nervous system and bring relaxation. So that's really something that I would like to share. And otherwise, it's really just, basically, I feel my life is just in service. There's a lot of just sharing love in so many different ways. That's really what I love doing, and that means answering messages. We have an app which is really dear to our hearts. We created an app during COVID, and so we have this beautiful online community that gathers weekly and with daily meditations and posts and sharings and many live streams. So that's I feel it's the garden I like to tend to. That's what I like to where I like to share my love, and that's very nourishing. So all those things, they might look like work, but they feel like sharing love to me. You could say I'm busy with that all day long, although I don't like that word busy so much, but that's really my focus. Yeah.
So you guys travel the world. You've been to many, many places. Deva, you're originally from Germany. Miten, you're from England, and now you live in Costa Rica. Is that right? What means home to you, or what made you choose living on that island? Because there's so many places in the world, right? You could have chosen, and what means this place for you?
It just chose us, it was just the flow took us there, and that's really true. It's when Corona started, when that whole COVID blues started, we found ourselves in Costa Rica.
We were there for a program.
Yeah. For an annual program.
Program in this retreat center called Blue Spirit. It's beautiful. It's in the jungle. And we arrived there a week before the lockdown happened. And so as David said, we were just blown to that place. And when everybody in the group started to leave immediately to get back home before they shut down the airports and everything, we didn't have anywhere to go back to. We didn't have anything anywhere. So we just stayed, and we rented a house in the jungle, which was like 10 minutes walk from the beach, with all these animals and birds. And while the world went pretty crazy, we were being very creative in the jungle and being inspired by the jungle. And we made 2 or 3 CDs, and a couple of music videos, and created an app. So that was our COVID time, and now it's over. We're happy we have a house there now. We went from renting a house to actually making somewhere our home. So we feel like we're actually making our home, like a feeling of being at home in Costa Rica, which is really beautiful right now. It's really beautiful. But Germany is pretty cool. Join it. I always like to be in Germany. Yeah.
Speaking of Germany, you're in Germany right now, and your Europe tour starts in September. So you're on tour through Europe and Germany. So what are the next dates? Maybe you can name a few. We will put everything in show notes for sure. But where can people experience you live, sing with you live?
Yes, don't miss it. If you have the chance to come to an evening, don't miss it. It's so beautiful. It's so nourishing. It's so transformative. And I have to say it because, you know, I sometimes even I forget because, you know, because we do. And then we just did again, 2 festivals. We played at 2 festivals last month. And again, I remembered, well, we really must not miss these opportunities where we can come together and sing. It doesn't happen so often. And it's so precious and it's so healing. So we have a few in Germany, in Munich, in Siegburg near Cologne, in Offenbach near Frankfurt. We have Hamburg, but it's sold out. And then also in Mulhouse, which is near Freiburg. And then we have Nuremberg, of course. We have Nuremberg. We have
Hamburg.
Hamburg, I just said. And then many different countries all around Europe. So yeah, you post the schedule. So yes,
definitely.
Come.
Yes, you guys. I would love to come. Yeah, I have a toddler, so it's not so easy, but I'm definitely going to join one of your concerts soon. Thank you so much, you guys, for taking the time today, speaking to me, speaking to everyone listening today. Is there anything you would love to share here in the end of the interview? Is anything you want people to know or say to the people listening right now?
Keep singing. Mm-hmm. Keep singing. Find ways to sing. Find people to sing with.
Yeah. And really find your community, your tribe.
Look for
you know, so and like check out our app. It is really a virtual community, and it really feels real and tangible, even though it's virtual. It's so precious. And if you don't have one yet, check it out, come for a month and see if you like it, you know, because to come together every week to sing, that's already a red thread to your life, you know, through your life.
Company with 1,000 people all over the world, all meeting together to chant with us every week. It's
or wherever you can find it, but find connection and community and bring more singing and music into your life.
So beautiful. Keep singing. Great. Thank you so much, you guys, for your precious gift you share with this world through your voices, through your music. Thank you so much for everything you gift to this world. And thank you for your time and your love being here today. And I wish you an amazing concert tour here through Europe and opening many hearts and a big celebration of love. Thank you so much. And I hope I can join you live very soon.
We love that. We love it. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well, you guys. And thank you, everyone, listening to this podcast today. And if you love this podcast, please share it on social media, share it with your friends, with your family, anyone who needs to listen to this podcast right now. You feel like that would benefit them in their life. So please share if you like. So, and we hear us here soon. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Wanda.
See you.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Ciao, ciao.